What up, everybody? So, hey, California, I've been meaning to talk to you. We've been friends now just about 2 years, and I think it's safe to make an assessment of you at this point. I've lived in a couple different states, and every state has good things and bad things about it. But California, dude, we gotta talk, okay? So you have all these different parts of LA, and they all are little cities that kind of loosely make up the big, greater city known as Los Angeles. And in these cities, as compared to other cities, there are no fucking trash cans anywhere. More recently, you see more people walking, but for a good 6 months of the year, there's very limited foot traffic. The only people that walk in Santa Monica are visitors to Santa Monica. So everyone drives, everyone's walking their little dog. Some of the newer people that have moved to the area, it's a bit of a retirement community in some senses of the word. A lot of the people here just have like dogs instead of kids. It's nice to see that more of the people that are living here do have children. But on the whole, there's like just a lot to fucking be desired. I don't want to like bust anyone's balls or hurt anyone's feelings, because I know you guys are so fucking sensitive and you can't handle anything, okay? But the no trash cans thing, it really contributes a lot to there being trash everywhere. The whole plastic bag thing, I think it was in 2012 that California decided that they were no longer going to give out plastic bags, but instead profit by charging you, the consumer, 10 cents a bag. Now, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, because a lot of people do have their totes and things that they use to carry stuff around, but not everyone is the same. And I think that is my number one beef with Cali as a whole, is that like they've tried to just kind of, try this one-size-fits-all model. And as we've seen, it leaves a lot of people out, because not everyone is the same. Like, we might have things in common, but people have very, different things that they need, to feel like comfortable and happy in their communities. So taking the fucking, like, charging people for plastic bags has just created like a lot more fucking shit. Like, I don't know, that you can hear the people working and cleaning up. And that's kind of the thing that fucks me up about Santa Monica, is that when you pay people to clean up your neighborhood, no one that lives in it really fucking lifts a finger to do anything to improve it for themselves. So there's a bit of, as my friend Malachi would refer to it, someone also do it culture that like just absolutely permeates everything in California. A lot of people have this like inability to move. Look, here's some fucking more trash. Just like, I don't know, just weird stuff. I should have brought my litter fucking picker upper with me. I'm going to the library right now. In any regard, there's just like, I don't know, when you have a someone else will do it culture in society, people just feel like kind of immobile and helpless to do anything, and they're always kind of waiting for their mom or, a more intelligent adult to come along and like tell them how to do it. And another thing that really bothers me about that is that you are around a bunch of people who act like they know what they're doing. But when you look closer and more closely, you see like, oh shit, like people don't know what the fuck they're doing here at all. So yeah, the plastic bag thing has created a lot more trash. There not being any trash cans anywhere has also contributed to communities just being trash and disgusting, as well as people having a limited interest in civics or community work. I think more people do every year, but again, I'm speaking on the whole. So what else? Okay, yeah, so everyone in California gets new cars and drives them. I was just talking about this with my brother. So I understand that like maybe you're making a certain amount of money and you feel like you want to be able to buy a new expensive investment and drive it everywhere and appreciate the value within the first 2 years of purchase. But for those of us who like you know, making money and keeping it in our pockets, renting, leasing, or buying super expensive new cars so that you can just put a bunch of miles on them, driving like to all kinds of dumb places all the time to go meet up with your fucking friends or go do this, go do that, is really stupid to me, when most vehicles that are a little bit older have way better gas mileage, they're better constructed, they're made from better materials, they're a lot more solid, they will, you know, still be around if you do get in an accident. They won't crumple like these fucking modern vehicles, and they will be a little less economical on fuel. However, that leaves it up to you to be a little bit more frugal or discerning with the places that you take your car to, because not every fucking trip is worth a car ride. That's just a simple fact. The whole point of having a car is to make it easier for you to get to the places that you want to go, namely work. And if you're spending like $300 to $600, if not more, on a car, you're totally like taking money away from traveling and actually being able to do things. A car is a tool to get you from A to B. It's not, like, in my opinion, I don't really think a new car, 2019, you know, blah, 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 is going to have as much value for you in 2 years as it is going to have for you right now. And who really wants to be making investments that have only short-term benefits? Anyway, another thing about people in California is they'll just kind of like walk in front of you because they're cooler than you, and you're supposed to just want to listen to them have their boring conversations. Then people don't ask any questions here. It's like the statement city. People just make statements, and then other people make statements, and then they say, I know, and then they move on. No one asks questions like, oh, what do you mean? Or where did this come from? Or who studied that? Or it's like an absolute already knowing kind of society. It's very hard to work with, and you see people actually don't know. There's the library, perfect. So let's keep going. People buy these new expensive cars to give them this sense of like self-worth and value, and then it's actually not that great of an investment most of the time. No shit on like a lot of these new cars. I know people always fucking hate me when I say things, but let's be real. Older cars that are made from American steel are much more consistent. So moving on to the next point, there are a lot of businesses here, and I see that most of the restaurants are on the horrible counter service model or the pool tip model, which makes it good for like 2 people that work at a restaurant, but pretty shitty for everyone else that isn't a good earner. I hate tip pools because maybe you can't tell, but when I work, people throw money at me. And being in a tip pool doesn't really work out so good for me. It works out really great for everyone else on my team who doesn't really pull their weight, but it really leaves a sour taste in the mouth of people in fine dining like myself, who see that most of these restaurants in California are on tip pools. So meaning there's really no incentive for people to work hard or make suggestions or actually do their job because they're sharing their tips with their coworkers. And again, the whole basis of the food service industry is kind of centered around the tip out. So for instance, picture that you are a waiter, you have a bartender to tip, you have 1 to 2 supporting staff members like a busser, and there might be, a hostess somewhere in there or a host. So you already have your few people that you're expected to tip out, and you tip them out based off of their performance, okay? So you are in control of incentivizing helpfulness, if you will. If you don't have that in place, people can just be lackadaisical assholes, play favorites with certain waiters, not run food to specific tables, make people wait, there's all kinds of like lame things that waiters do. I have a nice double chin. Thanks for checking it out. Excuse me. So then moving on, and that just like irritates me. Like I see there's way too many restaurants and I'll see they'll have great reviews, and then lo and behold, they're one of these freaky ass tip pool situations. No one likes that. What else? California. I see, as compared to Arizona, I expected there to be a lot more local business. There really isn't. Even in Arizona, being like a native Arizonan, so to speak, is pretty uncommon. However, most of the kids that I grew up with, to some degree or another, were native Arizonans. I would say that maybe 8 out of 10 came from another state, but the 2 out of 10 that were there had been there for a long motherfucking time. So with that being said, I see the proportion is much more like 1 out of 20 for here in California. Most of the people that I meet that live here are not from here at all, and that's fine. But it has a very different, more malleable culture when you have less people that have been, holding it down for a while, as opposed to a large group of people that are, they love their city and they like seeing it be the way that it is, or whatever it is people's visions are. So because of that, because there are so few native Angelenos, and if they are native, they end up not really participating at all in community life because they work a lot, and that's understandable. Like, it happens to everybody. But it does have some long lasting ramifications because, as we've seen in California, a lot of the college kids that are voting for policies that sound good, the policies sound good, they feel good, they make you feel like you're doing a good thing, but they bum out your check, and then when you check on the campaigns that are supposed to be, collecting this money and putting it towards its intended cause or purpose, the money isn't found, the money is lost, all kinds of oh my gosh, I don't know what happens here in Democratic California, and that didn't used to be the case when this was a red state. So I speak from coming from a red state and having everybody dunk on Arizona for years, like, oh, you guys are so po-dunk, you don't know what you're doing. And coming out here, I don't think California knows what the fuck it's doing, because all the pieces are in place, but there is something that is corrupt about those pieces that make it difficult for the people to be able to rise out of that industry as quickly as it was for other people. So what I kind of speculate happened is that some of these people with great educations kind of got jealous of the amount of money that servers are capable of making, because it is really just largely performance-based, and if you are good at following commands. And I think, especially during the recession, a lot of people, collegiate types that wouldn't have been in the food service industry before, were kind of introduced in being a waiter, and for whatever reason, people really look down on being a waiter. I don't know why that is. I've only met, if they're real waiters, they're very professional, they care a lot about quality, sourcing, and treatment of food. They're like some of the best people you could ever know. They know how to do the fun things in life. So if you bring, collegiate America bitter and, in denial about their liberal policies not working out during the Obama years, a lot of those people got jobs in restaurants with the intention of going to go create their own restaurant. And those same people, those restaurants that they made, were these horrible counter service things that totally take their earning potential away from you or me, the waiter. So that's something to fucking chew on. There aren't enough convenience stores in any of the neighborhoods. That's something that Phoenix is really good at, even if it's like, some weird little unofficial underground, soda shop in someone's basement or on their patio, or if it's a food truck, or there are all of these different options for people to be able to provide sodas and snacks, burrito carts, things of that nature. I see them sometimes in LA, but just not enough. And those type of things really do lend to more of a community atmosphere. LA, there's a lot of buses today. I see a good amount of people riding the bus, which is nice. The bus is super fast, and there's so many of them. That's one thing that LA sure has Phoenix beat on. There's a lot of different options for you to be able to get around without a car. So I just absolutely have way too many jokes to dunk on these fucking people that spend so much money to feel like they're cool. Like, if you want to spend fucking $2 a month, if not more, on your cool apartment and your cool motherfucking car, you are such a fucking poser. Mortgage rates are lower now than they have ever been before. So I don't know about you, but I hate living in apartments. Apartment living sucks. Like, unless your neighbors are like fucking the Beatles, you're gonna like hate your neighbors, and they're gonna be dicks and want you to be quiet and you can't make any noise. The best way around that is to like buy your own house and have your own place to live. And a lot of people in LA aren't able to do that because there's a lot of apartments, which are okay, but you still have to live in an apartment. The properties that are listed are spendy, and yeah, so it's I'll be curious to see how that pans out with people here in the greater Los Angeles area if people do start buying. But it just seems like most people are concerned with like looking like they have it together, but not actually having it all together. So yeah, there's not a lot of like music venues here. Totally thought there'd be a lot more of that. There's like barely any bookstores. There's barely any crystal shops. There's barely, there's like just I don't know. It's like you guys started to build a city and then you're like, oh wait, let's go over here and do this now. And so as a result, there's like, little boroughs that are built up and really cool. And, you got to have like huge big bucks to be able to live over there. And then there's it's not even like that nice being over there. Everyone like holds their breath all the time. It's weird. LA is very odd. Arizona still has those areas as well, but they're more private, and it's more like universally understood that those public spaces are intended for specific specific groups of people. Like there's a lot of different retirement communities. LA has a lot of that like retirement community or like very like exclusive vibe, but it's never like disclosed like what that vibe is. It's just, I don't know, it's a very, very odd place. I enjoy it a lot. There's a lot of good to be said about it, but it is still there's still a lot of room for improvement. So yeah, what else? People don't talk to each other. No one really greets each other here. If you do talk to someone, they like look at you like you're trying to steal from them. If you try to, be friendly with people, at least in my experience, in addition to people looking at you like you're trying to steal from them, they like kind of make fun of you, like, oh my God, who's this fucking dork? And I don't know about you, like I've lived enough places to know that like no place that like people want to be has people that act like that. And I get that there's a lot of like, newbies that come through LA, so there's a certain like fuck you attitude that comes with dealing with a lot of visitors, but at the same point it doesn't really reflect like if you have your shit fucking like on lock, you go ahead and fucking have your shitty face at me all day. But like there's too many homeless people. We've incentivized homelessness here, so homeless people just roam around. A lot of them are getting help, and a lot of them are veterans, and it's just like kind of heartbreaking. You see new faces recycle all the time. The one good thing that I have noticed about Santa Monica in particular is that people that you will see on the streets, you'll end up seeing working somewhere before too long, which is great. So it's an up and up place. There's like a lot of good to be said. But there's also a lot of annoying, tedious bullshit. The interpersonal behaviors leave much to be desired. Everyone here is so fucking weird. Like, I don't know. It's like you're the first person that's talked to them in months. So anywho, I'm about to go in the library. This is a long motherfucking video. Maybe you laughed. Maybe you cried. Maybe you thought about something. Maybe my sense of humor is just too dry. In any case, let's see what's on the free book cart. Have a nice day. Bye.